But you had it all set.
I did. I had it all set up. Oh, well. Here we go. Oh, yes. Welcome to the Sports Black and Gold. Here we are. We are live right now, if you're watching live, all over the world on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X, and on 2 channels on the Gram. Pittsburgh Beautiful on the Instagram, and the Sports Porch on the Instagram. Welcome to the show. And I'm going to drop this podcast. You can always subscribe to the podcast right after the show. You can catch up with us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. That's right. And we do have some listeners now on our new sister radio station.
Well,
Radio PGH 1 right now, and hopefully they're going to stick around unless they count. I don't think they count. I'm not listening to it, right? I'm talking on it, right?
No, you're talking on it.
I am dropping a comment right now. We have a sister radio station. It's called Radio PGH. You can find it at radiopgh.com. It's really easy. And that stream you see in the comments, that's not a spam stream. That is our actual live radio stream. So if you can't listen to the show, you can always, or if you can't watch the show.
Yeah, if you're driving especially, we want you to click on the link very quickly. Just click on it, and then you'll be able to listen.
Yeah.
And you'll be hands-free.
Yeah.
And you want to be hands-free when driving.
Yeah. And I'm so excited about it. I can't even contain myself. And look over here over my left shoulder. Look what we got. We got a little bit of bling back here in the studio now, because it's almost that time. It's Super Bowl time.
It's time to get excited.
Yeah, let's talk about this, man. So what do? We talk everything black and gold sports. And of course, right now, the story of the year is the Steelers. Maybe the secondary story of the year is the Penguins.
Oh, the Steelers start has been phenomenal. It's definitely, fortunately for the Penguins, outshining the Penguins' terrible start.
Yeah, so we're going to talk Steelers. We're going to talk Penguins. As you can notice, across from me in the studio in headquarters is Hockey Jesus.
We're missing a figure.
I am your technical director, Chris. To my right usually is the Grand Schwabini.
Yeah,
however, the Grand Schwabini is currently out of the country. And
yeah, we had to send him away.
Yeah, there were some rumors that he was having a much better time than we assumed he would be having. But I guess when you're in Jamaica,
Oh, he's in Jamaica.
Those are the kinds of things you do.
What do you do in Jamaica?
Well, I'm going to show you what you do in Jamaica just here in just a quick second, because
do you think did he go with the great Amy May?
No.
He went lonesome, right?
He went lonesome. Apparently, he is a very accomplished individual, and he feels that he shouldn't have to.
He shouldn't have to bring his wife with him everywhere.
Shouldn't have to hang with us. He should be.
Oh, there he is. Whoa! What is going on in that picture, Mark? Hello. Looks like he's got something sticking out of his mouth.
Yeah,
something you can smoke on, and a nice beverage there in the left hand.
I want to know, is that really Jamaica? I don't see any proof that that's Jamaica. I mean, I do see a palm tree in the background.
You know what? That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And he's wearing jeans.
Yeah. And he does have a purple wristband on. So, I mean, is that like a confinement situation that we have going there?
Maybe he got consigned to Jamaica for the weekend.
No.
He's got to wear a purple bracelet. I don't know. We'll have to ask him, hopefully, when he gets back next week.
The Grand Schwabini is actually here in spirit. He will be back with us next week. I don't know if he's going to call in. I don't know if he's watching.
I'm sure he's not
doing. So what are we going to start with tonight? We are going to start with, of course, we do have Trader Joe's snack time. I got to mention that.
Yes, very much. I missed it last week.
We have a little bit of what we're watching going on. But right now, talk of the day.
The
Super Bowl. Super Bowl or bust for the Steelers. Boswell beats the Ravens. I want to say again with 3 field goals over 50 yards. And
50 yards and over. So, right.
I do have an exciting moment in that game that I do want to share with you.
57 yards for Chris Boswell. Can he make it? Yes. Wow. At Acrisure Stadium.
Wow.
Where did you get that?
I got it on YouTube.
YouTube is full of crazy people.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, so yeah, Boswell, 6 field goals. The Steelers are now 8-2, solidly in first place in the AFC North. I mean, wasn't really that much of an exciting game. Once again, I'm at work, so I have to go back and watch.
We tried to pull you in with some texting.
I know, and you guys were really pissing me off.
But we did not give anything away because you made it clear you were at work. So we just wanted to make sure that you knew all about George Pickens.
Yeah, well,
may or may not have scored.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I know
the defense may or may not have been playing well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What can I tell you? I mean, I went back and I watched the highlights. Mike Lawrence is back this week, commenting on Facebook. Thanks, Mike, for being here again. He says, "I'm glad we won, and I don't care how." Field goals versus touchdowns. 2 things. I feel like Broderick Jones is turning into a dumpster fire, and Arthur Smith has been studying Matt Canada's playbook. I am taking some issue with that there, but let's start what we usually do, Steve. Good, bad, ugly for the Steelers. Let's hear your good.
Well, the good is they won, and that's really about it. I mean, I can't think of like one single play where I was like, wow, that was like a very good thing that they did there that is not like the Steelers. The only thing that really was good about that game was they won. I think there was a lot of bad and ugly, but when the zeros hit the scoreboard and you're winning the game, you've won the game, that's all that matters. I'm just going to go with a win. I know that's pretty lame.
Yeah.
But I can't say the defense because the defense did play well. If I was going to say anything on the defensive side, it's not surprising, but it would be their ability to just befuddle Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
That defense just knows how to play against him. And I don't know if at this point he does it to himself.
Yep.
And once again, the Ravens dropped, like Zay Flowers had a pass right in his hands and it doinked right off of him. It reminded me of last year's game. Remember when they won that game because the Baltimore dropped like 6 passes?
Right.
This was the only one that they dropped, but I just think they're just, when they come in the Acrisure now, used to be Heinz Field.
Yeah, we all know that.
They just fall apart. They can't play their game, and I love it. I just love that about this rivalry.
Yeah, I think the good was, I mean, there's an obvious good here, and that is that right now you have Chris Boswell as your kicker. Now we do have a sister show called the Sports Philadelphia, which we do before this show. So if you have any interest in Philly sports at 6 p.m. Eastern time, you can catch us there, and you can also follow that on the podcast. And one of the bads from their game was Jake Elliott, who's been money, for a couple of years.
Well, I'm sure that's what Baltimore is saying about their team.
About Tucker. Yeah. and that's the thing is that, kickers, they're even the great kickers, and Tucker is one of them. Boswell is definitely up there, becoming one of them. Morton Anderson was one of them. Gary Anderson was one of them. I mean, you can go back and name lots. Zerline at one point was one of the great kickers. Vinatieri. They go through spells where it's like a batter in baseball. It's like a hitter in baseball. It's not quite as defined. Like they're not going to go through 4 slumps a year because now they don't last on the team that long.
True.
But the good is that Boswell is having what is probably at this point, if he continues on this trajectory, to be his best year ever.
Oh, yeah, it's his best year. Anytime you can kick 3 field goals over 50 and it makes it look like you have their extra points, that's very impressive. And that 57-yarder,
unreal.
If you would have said you're kicking a 57-yarder at Heinz Field back in the day when it first went up, you'd be like, it might end up in the stands to the left or to the right. That's how off it would have been.
Well, and here's a question on Instagram from OC. Where do you think John Harbaugh falls in terms of coaching? Elite or not? He's been there a long time, but doesn't seem to get a lot of respect. I personally dislike him. Well, look, if you're a Steelers fan, you dislike him no matter what. I would consider him an elite coach because if you think about it, how many Super Bowls does he have? 1 or 2? I know he's got 1.
No, he's only got 1.
That's right. Because what's his name? Brian Billick has the first one.
Yeah.
But he's had to go through a lot of transitions in that franchise with different style quarterbacks. He won a Super Bowl with Flacco. Now he's got Lamar Jackson. I think he's an elite coach. However, when you put him up against Tomlin seems to have his number. That's hands down.
Well, I think they want to coach the same game. And when it comes down to being the home team, you always kind of have the last. You always have that advantage,
right?
Because you know where everything is. You know the field's going to be sloppy. You know what to prepare for. And I just think that little bit of an advantage just throws off Harbaugh.
Yeah, it does.
And for that reason, I think we've won like 7 in a row against them.
Yeah, I think
they're
8-1 in their last 9.
Yeah.
And something like 7 or 8 of them have come down to 1 score.
Of course. And that's when when Baltimore got the ball and they were down by 8, I was texting the counselor and I said, hey, it's an elite defense. All they have to do is stop them twice from getting into the end zone.
Right.
And they did. They stopped them the second time.
Yep.
But I just had a feeling like that defense it's not a shutdown defense. They played really well. And honestly, if I'm going to add another good into the mix, I would say it would be the turnovers.
Right.
The way they forced the turnovers between Queen and that interception
by Wilson.
Wow.
Yeah, magnificent.
I mean, come on. That might be the interception of the year.
Well, that's called not giving up on the ball.
Yeah.
As a defender.
And he got his arm in there in between him and the defender, and he just ripped it loose. Yeah. And he held on to it as he was ripping it loose.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an incredible defensive
That was a pro play. Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that probably clearly it was the turnovers and the fact that, Derrick Henry fumbled the ball and he hasn't fumbled the ball in like 538
second play of the game or something, second carry of the game.
He was so pissed off.
Of course he was.
He was so pissed off at himself. And it's just like, that's what happens to the Ravens when they come to Pittsburgh. They make those mistakes or the defense takes it away from them and then they just get all discombobulated.
Yep. Jeff Paulus is in town here with us. Steelers beat the Ravens, not just Boswell. That is true. The defense had to play well. The Ravens came into the game, I think, the number 1 scoring offense in the league.
Yep, they are the number 1 scoring offense in the league.
So my good was going to be the play of the defense, which and especially the linebackers, forcing those 3 turnovers. And that's something that we were worried about last week when we were talking about it.
Yep.
When I said, if the Ravens can exploit that soft underbelly, that zone between the linebackers and the secondary, and our linebackers can't manage the middle of the field, that's going to be the weakness. And I don't know, maybe they were listening to me.
Well, maybe. And the only good play that they had was that one long pass to Isaiah Likely. Other than that, their tight ends really didn't catch much. They only had 6 total catches for, it ended up being over 100 between him and Andrews, but Andrews only had 2 catches for like 22 yards.
Okay, the good, the bad. What is your good? If you're watching, you want to comment. If you're watching live, leave a comment. We're going to move on to the bad. HJ, what was the bad?
Clearly, it's the red zone offense.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. Like, I think this is where Mike was going with his statement about Arthur Smith's playbook. That was just a ridiculous showing of getting the ball into the end zone.
Right.
I don't understand how they can't come up with a way to run the ball properly or some sequencing of running and passing like they did at the end of the game with Justin Fields. I know I hear this all the time. No, you don't want to take Russell out because it ruins his rhythm. It messes him up. If Justin Fields can run the ball into the end zone and Russell Wilson can't, they got to try something different because they're not going to be able to kick 6 field goals against the Buffalo Bills if they play them in a playoff game and win that game.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to do that against the Kansas City Chiefs.
No.
So if you want to win a playoff, maybe they get away with it against the Chargers or Denver, maybe.
Right.
But that's no way to win a game. They got to figure that out. To me, that was definitely the bad.
Now, Jeff says, why can't they just copy the Eagles and do that tush push in 4th and 1s?
Well, because they don't have a Barkley or a Hurts that, power lift 750 pounds when they squat.
I also think that's something that teams don't want to copy because they don't want to I mean, I know the NFL is a copycat league, but I think that's something where they're just like, we don't want to copy.
No, I think seriously, it's because those guys are so strong.
Yeah.
They know how to do it, and they're so strong. They have such great strength. Russell Wilson can't push a sled without hurting himself.
That's true. It is a big sled in his defense.
Yeah.
Though. It's not a sled you and I would push at all.
That's why they can't, Jeff.
All right. So the bad, what did you say the bad was for you? After all,
it was the red zone offense.
Red zone, right? Yeah. The bad for me was the red zone offense as well. I don't listen, and addressing Mike Lawrence's comment. I got to tell you, Mike, I love that you watch the show. So grateful you're here. But I have to take issue with this. Stop talking about Matt Canada. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. This
He's gone.
This is not Matt Canada's offense. Now, I know that sometimes there's questionable play calling and we're still having difficulty in the red zone. And yes, we have PTSD. We have Canadian PTSD.
Yeah, we definitely have Canadian PTSD.
I totally get
it comes back every now and then in spurts.
But get over it. Canada is gone, and he has been gone. Arthur Smith knows how to call a professional football offense. That being said, yes, why are we not? Here's the thing that I noticed in this game.
Yeah.
3 attempts, and I think Mount Washington caught one of them. Darnell Washington. Mm-hmm. We're starting to get him in the game more.
Over the middle.
Listen, that guy over the middle, Mike Lawrence says, okay, point taken. And going back to the defense, we held Derrick Henry under 100 yards and pressured Lamar Jackson. So
right, definitely good.
But Darnell Washington has shown that he can run routes and he can catch passes. Mm-hmm. And let's get him into that. Let's get him into that offense more.
Well, you're seeing him being more of an option than Freiermuth.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably frustrating Freiermuth. But you know what? If he can't block, then he can't be on the field all the time.
Right.
And that's what happens.
Well, and the other thing about Washington is if he can work on his skills, first of all, he can catch the ball and he can run. And he's also as big as Godzilla. So
it's true. He can catch the ball because that one pass that Wilson threw to him, he threw it before he was looking, and he threw it really hard. And he turned around and he grabbed it.
That's because his one hand is bigger than the football.
I know, but sometimes guys with big hands can't put them in the right spot.
OC says, is Washington bigger than Eric Green? Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
I don't even have to look up the stats there. The guy's like 6'6", 290.
Yeah, he is. He's
huge,
bigger, yeah.
But he's fast and he can catch the ball. Get him into the offense.
More talented, yeah.
Get him into the offense. So the bad for me was definitely the red zone, and it wasn't it was the plays called in the red zone. I think Darnell Washington is the kind of guy that should have 6 touchdowns already this year. That's my and I hate to say it. Look, Freiermuth fans, he's a great kid. And, we were so desperate to replace Heath Miller that we basically not indoctrinated. We basically coronated Pat Freiermuth as Heath Miller. He's not Heath Miller.
He's not.
No,
he can't block nearly as well.
He's shifty. He's shifty, and he's good for a seam route. He's good once in a while over the middle. He could be a possession tight end, but he is not the answer. Now, that being said, I don't think Darnell Washington is the second coming of Gronkowski or Travis Kelce.
No, it's good to have both
of them. He's a hell of an option that we need to get into this game more.
Yeah.
And that being said, this is all about a win over Baltimore. It's like that bad part of it was not really that bad.
No,
anything ugly about the game?
Yeah, there were 2 ugly things. I agree with the Broderick Jones statements about the penalties. He's got to get a handle on his temper. I think if he could figure out how to channel that energy that he has, not towards the refs, and not towards holding guys. And when he gets caught, he needs to focus more on, oh, I got caught, I got to stop doing that, as opposed to, come on, I was barely holding him,
Right.
Because you can call holding every play.
Pretty much.
But when you start complaining, then they start looking more. When they start looking more, they start throwing the flag more. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
I love his energy.
Yeah.
And I think they have, I think they've treated him wrong by putting him on the right-hand side, but he's there now. And he's the best option there. So they got to find a way to motivate him to want to reel that in. I think that was bad. The other thing that I think was bad was,
this is ugly.
Oh, I'm sorry, ugly. Yeah,
right.
Sorry, that was ugly.
So you get that straight now.
Yeah, I already talked about the bad.
Yeah.
The other ugly is, where was Mike Williams?
Yeah, I don't
understand why the offense can't suddenly just incorporate him. I mean, they threw the one moon ball to him, and it was a great moon ball, and it was the best moon ball we've ever seen in Pittsburgh in the past 3 years.
Well, it's because it won the game.
But I didn't see him in the game at all. I mean, does he not? Can he learn the playbook? Can't they like get him in there? I don't understand. Like, they had Jefferson on that one route near the end zone, and he just dropped it.
Well, that's a play call and a quarterback selecting who he's going to throw the ball to.
They got to get him more involved with the offense, and I think it's ugly that he's on the sidelines.
I do. I agree as well, because even he's better than anybody we have but George Pickens.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says about where he is in his career.
So Calvin Austin III, CA3 dropped the ball too. Yeah. I mean,
different receiver, different style.
I know, but both of these guys, if they catch those balls, it makes a big difference. And they weren't easy balls to catch. And Jefferson's was only like a 7-yarder, but it was on third down, and it probably would have gotten us a first down inside the 10. Instead, we kick a field goal.
So on Instagram, 414 Karat Gold goes back to the Washington comments we were making, but he didn't jump for that touchdown throw.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
I don't
that should be your ugly.
Yeah, that he should have jumped. Well, for him, that is kind of ugly.
I don't know why. I mean, so first of all, the Steelers got a little greedy there. They probably should have just thrown it away and taken the 3 points.
Yeah,
but I'm happy that we have a quarterback that wants to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he gave the guy a chance. The guy just didn't do anything with it.
And OC says, think we'll start seeing Justin Fields gadget plays. Would it be a good time to? Weren't there a couple in this game?
There were at the end. Yeah. I think you've already seen it. And it was funny because I was texting with Scott and I said, why don't they put Justin Fields out there when it's 3rd and 6? Like, he can run for 6 yards and get the first down. Just roll him out and he can still throw the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, the other ugly was when he slid on that third down, slid short of gaining the sticks, and that would have been the game. But instead, they had to go through the routine.
Yeah, for me, the ugly was the passing game. And I don't think that Russell was ugly. He was 23 of 36 for 205 yards. He did have that interception.
Yeah, that was ugly.
He did find George Pickens on a couple beautiful passes. Pickens had 8 for 89. But nobody else had more than 4. And those two guys were Harris and Warren, which are checkdowns.
True.
So, now Darnell Washington, 2 for 42, Freiermuth 2 for 14. And then, Williams, nothing.
No targets.
The ugly for me now again, it wasn't Russ Wilson ugly because he's putting the ball in the air. He's trying to score touchdowns. I think it is. I think it's a replay of the beginning of the season with Fields, where you could see that Smith was rolling that offense out very slowly, game by game.
Yeah.
Wilson gets healthy. He comes in. Even Wilson's first game, he looked really good, but you didn't see the whole offense. Now all of a sudden you have Mike Williams in there, and he's trying to get Darnell Washington more involved. And I think that maybe we've taken a step back. What I'm looking forward to is hopefully when we play the Browns on Thursday night, they're not afraid. I mean, if this is a game to open the whole damn playbook up, this is the game. I know the Browns defense has great players now. You can't call them a great defense because the team sucks.
Yeah.
But this is the game where you open up the whole playbook, because the Browns, they just, I know it's a division game, but I just feel like they're not even going to play. I mean, I hate to say it. I don't want to jinx it.
The Browns will definitely come to play because this is going to end up being their Super Bowl. I mean, they're 2-8,
right?
So they don't have anything to play for except for the ruin our season.
It's in Cleveland, though, right?
Yeah, it is. So they're going to come out and play. Yoho's son,
don't take them lightly. Go ahead.
Yoho's son says something pretty interesting. Sneak Ben Skoranek in for more offensive plays. That's what the Steelers' offense is missing: a slot receiver. They need somebody that can catch that 5 yards, hit them. Yeah. And then have them take off, you know, and that's why that's the problem. They don't have that receiver.
Why not why not put Austin in the slot and send him on the slant play? He's fast.
I don't think he can run patterns that well.
Well, he's got to start practicing. 414 Karat Gold says the receivers don't get open, right?
Yeah, that's why.
And also this is on Instagram. Thanks for being there. The good defense digging deep to make impact plays. And hey, listen, anybody who thought this wasn't going to be a classic Steelers Ravens slugfest.
I love the fighting. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's great for the game.
Yeah. And I think it's fantastic.
A lot of extracurricular, a little business going on in there. Yeah. I love that.
Nothing like business. Nothing like
giving
business.
them a little bit of business under the pile. And you never know what's going on under the pile.
We all love a little business under the pile.
Heck yeah.
All right. So listen, the Grand Schwabini's not here, but he did phone in his predictions, which I have to pull up on my text here. But in case you just joined us, if you're watching us live on social media, you're watching us right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and 2 different Instagram channels all over the world every Monday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. I'm going to drop this podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And I'm going to drop this link. This is the streaming link in the comments right now. This is our sister radio station. This is the link to the stream. You can just listen to us live when we're on the air. You can listen to Radio PGH anytime, radiopgh.com. Jeff thinks I should be the slot receiver. What do you think?
No.
I can tell you one thing I can do if I get out there: run. I'm just not going to be running in the direction they want me to. I'm going to be running the other way.
Yeah, I think that's safe. That's the safest way to run.
Get me the hell out of here.
Yeah, nobody wants to be over the middle, not even wide receivers who can run a 4.340.
Russ needs to channel his inner fields and run a little instead of throw it away. That says Yoho's son.
I don't know. I think he's too old to be doing that. That's what I like to see Fields in there. I think if he was young enough to be able to do that, I'd say yes. But I just don't think he's got the speed. I don't think he's got the legs anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think he's good for a wide open, maybe 5 yards if he needs to get it, but to get 10 or 12, that's going to be tough. And the last thing we need is him getting injured. Now, as fate would have it, the Steelers play Thursday night, and we're going to move on to our NFL predictions. The Grand Schwabini, as I said earlier, he dialed his predictions in via text. I just want to remind everybody that the Grand Schwabini is not with us this week because he is somewhere smoking a cigar and drinking beer.
He said Jamaica, but we're not really sure about that.
I also think maybe he's just completely gone crazy because he's got that purple wristband on, and it could be an institution. He might have been institutionalized.
Everybody needs a break every now and then.
Probably good for him, to be honest with you.
I'm getting a break this weekend with the Scouts.
There you go. So what? All right, I don't want to go down that road. I'm glad he's not here for that. Our NFL predictions every week. What do? Well, we take the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, and then a pick'em game, and we make our predictions. We want you to predict with us, so drop a prediction in the comments when we give you the games. This year so far, last week, Mark was 1-2. Steve was 2-1.
Mark's first losing record in a
was
while.
3-0. Mark is now 21-9. Steve is 18-12, and Chris is now back to a respectable 14-16. I'm surging, Grand Schwabini. I'm surging.
2 more weeks of 2-1, and you'll be at 500.
I know. Crazy, isn't it?
You can do it.
How about if I just go 3-0 this week? Let's try that.
Well, I think you're asking a little much.
All right. So as fate would have it, we're walking right into a Steelers Cleveland prediction. Put your pick in the comments. What do you got, HJ? Actually, I'll give us Grant Schwabini. Schwabini is Steelers at Browns. He's taking Steelers.
He's taking the Steelers.
Yep.
Well, I had to go back to my 2024 predictions at the beginning of the year because I like to try and stay consistent with my picks and only stray from that if I absolutely have to. By the way, I've only lost 2 games all year picking the Steelers. I lost the Atlanta game, and I just lost the Baltimore game. I thought they would lose to Baltimore, even though I did pick them to win this in the predictions. I'm going with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh really. It's not going to be an easy one. Put it this way.
Right.
I think Cleveland could go up 14-0 and then end up losing 35-21. Because that's the kind of game Cleveland plays. They are just terrible defensively. They've got a lot of gaffes. They've got a lot of holes in their defense. And all you have to do is exploit it once, and then you can just continue to do it. They don't know how to plug that hole.
I think this is the game that Arthur Smith opens up the playbook. I think Russ is probably frustrated. I think he wants to throw the ball more. I think Cleveland is they're just a dumpster fire again.
Yeah.
I know Jameis Winston is like, I'm a starting quarterback again. Dude, his career is over anyway.
Dude,
so
his whole career has been, I can throw for 350 to 400 yards every game.
And 4 interceptions.
And my team will go 4-12.
Right, exactly. So, but I think our defense is going to. I think we're going to win this game hands down. So, Mark, Steve, and Chris pick the Steelers. What's your pick in the comments? Sunday night game, big game. Eagles all the way across the country at the Rams. By the way, Schwaber, of course, is picking the Eagles.
Oh, no, he did. He took the Eagles. Wow.
Of course he is. He's a homer. He's picking the Eagles.
Well, I know he loves his Eagles, but normally, like when they're playing on the West Coast, he always makes up some reason to pick against them. Boy, I don't know. I mean, the Rams kind of have to win to hold pace with that crazy 5-5 division out there. I think everybody in that division's like 5-5, aren't they?
Yeah, except for the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 6-4, but everybody else is 5-5.
Right. So 6-4 versus a 5-5. They're gonna have. I think that I'm going to take the Rams.
Okay.
I think they have to win to hold serve, and I don't think the Eagles have to win.
Yeah, I mean, it is an NFC game, so it has some bigger implications on head-to-head record. I think the Eagles won a big game against the Commanders, and after a slow start. Now, in our Philly show, I said they need to get out to a fast start here. I
agree with that.
Let's see. Mike Lawrence, by the way, going back, these comments come in late. So 24 Steelers, 24 Browns, 10. Kevin Dick 66.
Get your dicks on 66
on yeah. I bet you can. Can't afford to lose. This is on Instagram. Can't afford to lose to the Clowns. Don't lose the view of the long-term goal of winning the division, winning a or more playoff game. Winning a playoff game.
Yes,
I think we understood that.
Everybody knows that's the goal.
All right, so you're taking the Rams. I actually think that the Eagles are going to win this game. It's tight though, because this is a classic trap game. I talk about
for
all
the
the
Eagles,
time.
yeah.
But I'm going to take the Eagles in that, and Schwaber took the Eagles. Okay, the Sunday game. We have picked. Oh, this is a big one.
This is a pick'em game.
49ers at the Packers.
Oh, that's a classic.
49ers are 500. Not looking good right now for them. The Pack, a team on the rise.
Yeah, and the Packers are looking for revenge. Who did Schwaber take?
The Grand Schwabini took the Packers.
Ooh, man. This is a really tough game to pick. I love the Packers at home. It's a revenge game against the 49ers. Oh, man. But the 49ers kind of have to win the hold serve, too. I'm just going to go with my gut, the 49ers, and I don't know why.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
I can't explain why, but I'm just going with my gut. My gut says take the 49ers on the road.
Yeah, and I think this is a game where this is the must game. If the 49ers end up 5-6, not a good situation for them.
No, there's too many, especially with the Cardinals surging, which is nobody saw.
No, as a matter of fact, if they end up 5-6, I say they miss the playoffs.
Well, yeah, because they're going to be other teams with better records for the wild card.
Yeah, and this is a must. This is a must-win game for them, no matter what. Must-win game for them.
I'm there with you, brother.
Okay, so there you go. We have now in our house, we have somebody who we love to bring in to talk about hockey, and his name is Hockey Jesus. And Hockey Jesus, who's sitting right across from me, can be followed on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. Hockey Jesus preaches after every single Penguins game, gives you his analysis, gives you his sermon, tells you like it is. And this year, I'm kind of down because it's not looking that great.
You're not the only one who's down.
Yeah, I know. So you want to lay a little Hockey Jesus. Can we have an uplifting sermon? Or is this just it's over?
Well, no, it's not. It's not over. So they're they're basically at the quarter mile mark, which is, you're only 25% of the way in. There's this theory in hockey that says if you're out of the playoffs by Thanksgiving, then you're not going to make it. And it's a pretty crazy theory. But it really does hold true. But I think you can be like on the cusp of getting in. So what I did was I looked at the teams that are out there and where Pittsburgh is. By the way, Pittsburgh is now third from the bottom in the East if you look at trending points. Okay?
Right.
So that's bad. That means you're not even close to making a playoff. You're not even close to making the playoffs. The team in the playoffs right now would be Carolina, Washington, New York Rangers, Florida, Toronto, New Jersey Devils, Tampa Bay Lightning, and then you kind of have a slew of teams. You have Boston, Philly, New York Islanders, and the Senators all trending to be in that last spot. So you have 4 teams right now that the Penguins have to jump over. And I actually think they have to jump over the Sabres in Detroit,
right,
to be able to be in that position. I broke it down, and I'm not going to go into extreme detail, but I broke it down as to how difficult it is when you lose like 5 or 4 in a row to get back to an 80 win, a 90 win season. Right now, the first 7 teams are trending so that they would score 95 points or more, and that's where I thought the Penguins had to be. They're trending to be a 70-point team.
Okay,
that's how disappointing they have been in the first quarter of the season. I think their trend is probably about 20 points from where I thought they would be at this time. So that means that they're not making anything, and they got to do something different.
Well, are you going to be able to make it through all 82 games?
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll make it through 82 games. I did actually analyze part of their problems. And here's what I'm going to give you guys. I usually save this for my podcast, but since you're here and we're talking hockey, I feel like I owe it to my sports porchers here. They have the worst goal differential in the NHL, a -25. That means they score 25 goals less than the other teams that they play.
Right.
That's terrible. And it's all because of the goalie situation that nobody saw coming. Everybody thought Tristan Jarry was going to come in, be the number 1 goalie, and he's not. He's an absolute head case. He's a basket case. He's the worst, probably the worst goalie in the system right now. The problem is they can't bring up Bloomquist because he's not quite ready to be the starter, although he's probably talent-wise our best goalie at this point. And Ned is just a backup. I'm sorry, but Ned can't be the number 1 goalie. Ned has to be the backup. So what the Penguins are going to have to do is they're going to have to bite the bullet. They're going to have to play Tristan Jarry probably 5 of the next 7 games.
That hurts.
And they have to see if he is going to be the man or the Penguins are going to get a lottery pick.
Yeah.
And honestly, at this point, I'm trending towards a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Just because part of the thing that Dubas was brought in to do was keep the Penguins relevant, which he hasn't really done a very good job of this year.
I was going to say it's only been basically 2 years, almost.
Yeah, but the last 2 years they didn't make the playoffs, so to me that's not relevant. But he is doing a very good job of accumulating draft picks. They have 29 draft picks in the next 3 years in 7 rounds.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And actually 14 of them are in the first 3 rounds, which is where you get all the talent for the foreseeable future. So that is, I think, the trend you're going to see. They're probably going to sell off some more guys. They got rid of Eller for draft picks. I think you'll probably they'll probably try and get rid of, I can't believe they'd get rid of Raquel, but maybe they might get rid of Raquel, and probably Marcus Pettersson's probably going to go too.
So OC on Instagram says he wants you to recap. HJ, what was the points total needed to make the playoffs again?
I say they have to trend around 95 points. And right now, the only teams that are trending at 95 points are Carolina, the Capitals, the Rangers, Florida, Toronto, New Jersey, and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, like the usual suspects.
That's the top 7. And then you have Boston, Philly, New York Islanders, and Senators trending around 82.
Yeah.
So I think those teams are still definitely in it and can easily make it into the playoffs. But remember, they're 20 points from the bottom.
Right.
If they got 20 points higher, they would only be in 5th place.
Right.
That's how high the top 3 or 4 are that you got to try and catch.
Yeah.
The good news is we did beat the Capitals, and they're up there. I think the Capitals are going to fall down. They're trending at 120 points. They're not going to get 120 points this season.
Right.
So they're going to fall back. And I think Toronto's where they are, 103 points. That sounds right. The Devils are at 101 points. I think that's probably about right. Tampa Bay's at 97. I think they could trend higher or lower. I'm not sure what's going to happen with them. It's all about Vasilevsky for them.
Yeah.
If the goalie, if he catches on fire, they can easily go higher.
I do want to comment here on this news broke right before the show started, and it's actually baseball related.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Can we finish the hockey segment?
You want
first?
to?
Yeah, let's just finish up hockey segment.
All right. I thought it was important to get in here, but go ahead, please.
No.
HJ can't stand the Pirates.
I know it's going to be Pirate news, and I'm ready to talk some Pirates, actually, because I think there's some things to talk about. The last thing that the Penguins have a problem with is the salary cap. They've had to take on some salary people to get those draft picks. Like, I think Cody Glass and Kevin Hayes are 2 guys that probably need to go. The problem is Kevin Hayes, nobody's going to want to take his $3.5 million.
Right.
And so I don't know how you're going to get rid of him unless you start playing him and he starts playing well. So they're probably going to have to play him, and it's going to be the detriment of their third line now, which I think is playing pretty good, which is Drew O'Connor, Puljujärvi, and Poulin. They brought Sam Poulin up. He's one of our number 1 draft picks. He's got to stay up. He's got to be a guy who's got to be figured into the future of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Right.
And he's a good third liner. I love that third line. They've played really well. They kept them together the last 2 games, and they were one of the better lines. Now, they're not going to score, points every night, but they're out there. They're getting scoring opportunities, and they actually did score a goal the other night. So I think if they can get a goal every other night, that's exactly what you want from your third line. And Sidney Crosby, by the way, 1 goal away from 600. His next will be the 600th since Alex Ovechkin did it like 6 years ago.
Wow,
like that.
6 years ago.
It was it was a while. I wrote it down on my other sheet. I don't have it here, but yeah. It's been a while since we've seen a 600 goal scorer, and Iginla was before him. So you don't see it very often. So the next goal for Sidney Crosby will be history. Let's hope it's in a victory tomorrow night against Tampa Bay Lightning.
So you're trending towards this is going to be more of a lottery pick year? I think so. Yeah.
They haven't since Game 7. And so in the last 13 games, this is where they've been. They've been in that 70-point range.
Right.
They've only been up into the 90s once.
Right.
And they've been in the 80s for a couple times, but not they get up there and then they fall flat. They can't maintain that.
Yeah.
And it's just because they're too old. They actually don't have enough talent, and the goalie situation is really a disaster.
It's bad. Yeah.
And I did talk about this. You'll have to go back and listen to my last podcast. I talked about the Sully system and how the Sully system is letting them down. That is not helping. And if they continue to lose, you just might have to cut loose Sully.
Yeah.
But I actually think you keep him, you get better players, and then his system might work better.
All right. Well, this is Hockey Jesus, and you can follow Hockey Jesus on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. And of course, after every single Penguins game,
it's
Hockey
only
Jesus,
10 minutes out of your life.
Yeah. And you know, we all listen to him, and I actually watch him because I like to watch you. You
like to see what I got on my bulletin board over there?
Bulletin board behind you. So this is the Sports Porch Black and Gold edition, live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and X. And of course, I'll drop the podcast right after the show.
Did I see some food delivered?
Yeah, you did. We're getting to that on the iHeartRadio app, Apple
I can
Podcasts,
smell it too.
Spotify.
Can't you smell it out there on radio land?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Anywhere you listen to your friggin' podcasts. But I do want to get this in there. This was breaking while we were setting up the show. Congratulations to Paul Skeens, 2024 NL Rookie of the Year. Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let's go get that Cy Young now.
Absolutely. I'm actually reading this from ESPN. The final tally, Skeens had 136 votes for Rookie of the Year. 23
Jackson have
23 first place votes. Jackson Merrill 104.7 first place. Doesn't matter the rest of them.
No, those are really the only two in contention.
Yeah, he emerged as the winner of the star-studded NL rookie class that was deep in impact performances put up by high upside prospects who should only get better. Skeens was absolutely dominant. He is also a finalist for the National League Cy Young race.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Still, we're talking about 23 games. So,
congratulations to Paul Skeens.
Yeah, you can't really make a case. This is what ESPN is saying. You really can't make a case against Skeens for the Cy Young, 23 games or not. Since earned runs became official in 1913, Skeens became the fourth pitcher with a strikeout rate of at least 11 per 9 innings while posting an ERA under 2.
Yep. He's that good.
Yeah, really. Congratulations to Paul Skeens. Congratulations to Pirates fans. I mean, listen, you got to have something to root.
He's a winner, man. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Now all you got to do is go out and find his debut patch in those chrome boxes.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you can have 30 years worth of season tickets to a shit show.
Or you could give it the golden and make a golden.
Yeah, whatever. Let me tell you, man. Nutting, sell either. Look, Nutting, if you don't sign good players this year and start putting a winner on the field, just sell the damn team.
The team.
Listen to the billboards. Watch the billboards. Read the billboards.
We're 100% behind those guys. With
absolutely, 100. We should have them on the.
We're going to get them. We're going to get them.
That's your job. You reach out.
I will.
I make all the little videos. You reach out and get them.
I absolutely will. Right after hockey season's over.
All right. Maybe you'll actually begin after our next segment here because you did. Yes, you did smell food.
My favorite.
Yep.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
All right. Well, everybody knows what that means. That means it's Trader Joe's snack time. And I work at Trader Joe's. That's my day job. They did not pay us to do this, so it's not a paid sponsorship, but I did get permission. So what we do is every week I bring home a Trader Joe's product.
You've had this one. I know it.
I have not actually. No. And we serve it up here and give our honest opinion. This time, my lovely wife, the Pittsburgh property diva, Lauren Klein.
Thank you, Lauren.
She did the preparation and brought it down to us, so we have to give her props. You can visit her at pittsburghpropertydiva.com.
And she brought down Sassy with her.
She did. Thank God for that.
Sassy's
couldn't do this shit without Sassy.
Our dog.
This is our dog. Sassy is our dog.
Our dog mascot.
This week, beef burrito, slow-cooked beef in a savory tomato and chili sauce.
Okay. Sounds a little spicy.
I don't know if it is or not, but what I can tell you is what they suggest is that you like make tacos with it or put it on stuff as well.
So bread is important.
Yeah. So
we're just going to eat right out of the bowl.
I'll let you try first. I'm going to put that carton up there.
Oh my goodness. This looks
good.
Wow. This looks very
beefy and burrito-y.
I don't know how to explain it.
Muddy,
oily, very oily.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know if it's still hot. It should be warm-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else at the store told me it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They like it.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, if you had like a hot roast beef sandwich before, and you put like a little, you put a little Frank's Red Hot in it, that's exactly what that tastes like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a good roast beef sandwich that you could just put on a bun, and it's just like dripping everywhere. It's got great flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can definitely taste the chili in it for sure. 100%.
I took the largest bite possible.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're gonna be chewing on that thing for a while.
I am. I'll tell you what, though, that would be great on like a Mancini bun.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what you need. Little bun. You can even put a little cheese on it if you wanted. It's because it's a little spicy. It needs something to take that little spice away.
They actually suggest like slicing up some onions and stuff and putting them in there.
That's too much effort.
You think?
Yeah. If I'm going to put something in the microwave, I'm just going to put it in the microwave and I want to pull it out and slap it on a bun.
Well, speaking of effort, this takes about 5 minutes in the microwave.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's all it is.
Perfect.
All right. There you have it. The perfect beef burrito from Trader Joe's and our Trader Joe's
2 thumbs up.
Snack time. 2 thumbs up. And there it is.
Mark's going to be disappointed he missed that.
Yeah, he would have liked that. He might have had it already. He goes to Trader Joe's a lot.
Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Yeah.
Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes my chicken wings.
All right.
All right.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Trader Joe's snack time. Thanks a lot.
I haven't had a Trader Joe's segment in a little while.
You weren't here last week?
No, I was at the hockey game.
What do we have? Shumai. I think we had chicken shumai last week.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Chicken shumai.
All right. Next up on the docket here, we're going to do a little bit of what we're watching. I'm going to explain this to you. What are we watching? What does that mean? Well, I'm burping beef burrito. That's not what it means. But
no, that's not what it is.
There's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of streaming services. We all know that. Netflix blew the Tyson Jake Paul fight. By the way.
Oh, yeah. Did you watch that live?
I got to tell you, I know the whole world, especially guys our age, people our age, basically, wanted to watch this. Who wouldn't want to watch Mike Tyson fight again at almost 60 years old? You know what I mean?
58 years old, right?
And then of course everybody knows pretty much the Jake Paul story, the YouTube phenom, his brother, blah, blah, blah.
Teaching himself how to box.
All right, so
doesn't care about money.
I'm gonna preface this by saying I did not watch it.
I did,
but I saw the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there were any highlights. Other than the chick. You know, the woman, the ring girl that's now world famous. She's the one that benefited the most.
Well, she deserved.
And I think it's justifiable.
Justifiable, absolutely.
I can tell you, I started following her.
Yeah, sure.
Couldn't help it.
Hey,
and if she was anywhere near,
everybody wins in this situation.
Yeah, if I saw her down the street, I'd started following her. Would take on a whole new meaning, I guess. Anyway, the point I'm making is that
I don't think she lives down the street in Monroeville.
You can address no, she doesn't. But you can address the broadcast itself.
Yes,
but from what I saw, the fight itself.
Yeah,
what a sham! What a complete sham.
So I knew it was going to be on, right?
Right.
I knew it was starting at 8:00. And of course I had hockey on. So I'm like, okay, I know that the boxing isn't going to be at 8:00. So I watch the hockey game. Hockey game's over. I do my hockey Jesus. It's 10:30 or something like that. And I turn it on, and actually I saw it was trending, of course, on X, right? I knew it was trending on X.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, and it's trending because you can't see it. You can't watch it. It's terrible.
Right.
It's everything. I'm like, so I immediately had to click on just to see what it was like.
Right.
I could see it. I had no spinning problems.
Right.
But the picture was a little blurry, 100%. You know, people are used to perfect clarity in their televisions
Of
now.
course.
So when it's a little blurry, that's going to drive people crazy. That it didn't drive me crazy, but then I'm like, two chicks are going to be fighting. I don't want to watch this. So I started watching a show of what I'm going to talk about here in a second.
Okay.
And I watched the show, and it's, 45 minutes, an hour, and I put it back on, and I see it's the end of the woman fight, right?
Yeah.
And they're all bloody, and they're like a mess. And I'm like, oh, I got to go back and watch this fight.
Right.
So I went back to the beginning and watched the fight. Best fight I've ever seen in my life.
You're talking about the fight before the fight.
Dude, these two women, I guess they've boxed before, so they know their style. And the one had a gash. I'm not kidding you. It was this thick. It was for you on the radio. It was probably half an inch thick, the whole above her brow, and it was just like a big gouge in her eye.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, she really took a beating. But what happened was the one boxer, she leaded with her head. She led with her head,
Gotcha.
and she cut her with her head.
Yeah.
She actually lost a point. But I'm telling you, this fight was right out of Rocky, because they would just go boom. They would just start punches left and right and left and right. And the one woman would hit the other one, and she would like stagger back, and then she would hit her again, and she would be like, oh, you're not hitting me again. And then she started punching her.
So in other words, that was the real fight.
Oh man, it was incredible. And I'm not a boxing fan. I can care less about boxing, but I can tell you that was a real boxing match. Anything after that would have been bad. And the Tyson Paul match was absolutely horrible.
I honestly,
it was terrible.
I think the entire public got sold a bill of goods just so Tyson could get his money.
Dude,
I think it's horrible.
You know me, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist when it comes to these sorts of things, because this is definitely a staged thing.
Yeah.
I know that this was staged, and I knew it was going to be terrible, but I didn't watch it that night, because I went back to it, and they're still talking about stuff, and I'm an old man. It was 11:30. I needed to get to bed.
Right.
And plus I knew it was being recorded anyway. So I went to bed. I watched it in the morning, and it took me 10 minutes, and it wasn't even worth my 10 minutes. To watch it.
What I think is amazing is, in this day with social media and instant access to video stuff, that, what I was watching online today when I would wander over to this kind of shit, it was, videos of Tyson training, and then videos of Tyson fighting.
Saw that, yeah.
And it's like, he in all honesty, if they'd had a real fight, I think he would have kicked the ever-loving shit out of Jake Paul. That's what I think.
Maybe. But he would have had to do it in the first couple rounds, because you could tell he was labored.
I agree.
By the time they got to the third or fourth round,
I agree. But he
was tired.
Look at his training sessions, and how quickly and how hard he was hitting.
I saw
and
the same
fast
thing,
he was.
Yeah.
You're telling me that didn't show up in the ring? That didn't show up on purpose. That was ridiculous.
Yes, it's possible.
I mean, you know what? As far as I'm concerned,
they want us to talk about it, so they won.
Yeah, and we are talking about it, so they won. But luckily, I was already a Netflix subscriber, and I'm going to remain a Netflix subscriber for other reasons.
Well, for the football game alone that's coming on Christmas Day.
Yeah, which they're going to have problems broadcasting. If you go back and read the market ticker, Carl Denninger, he talks about why.
Yeah,
Netflix was never set up to do this.
No, they're not,
and they didn't do anything to correct it beforehand.
No, they're not going to go out and buy more servers just to have more people for one event.
It's not even the servers. It's some other technical bullshit that we're not going to talk about here. So what we are watching, well, we decide to take our spare time, of which we have plenty because we're old men who love spare time, and we watch these things and we pick them and we decide.
We do it for you, though.
And we do it for you. And Steve HJ this week is watching something. It's been around for a few years. Are there new seasons now, or are you?
It started in 2019,
right.
And I think the fourth season just finished.
Okay,
and it was so I only watched the first season, so I'm technically not allowed to talk about anything else but the first season. But I did look it up because I wanted to see how much investment I would have to do, because I wasn't sure about it. And the fifth season looks like it's going to be picked up because they didn't like the way the fourth season ended.
Why don't we talk about what it is?
Okay. That's even better.
Yeah, it's called
Evil. It's called Evil, just evil.
That's correct.
Plain evil.
Yep.
And it's basically about a psychologist, a woman psychologist, Kristen Bouchard, and she joins up with David Acosta. He's an African-American man who's trying to become a priest with the Catholic Church. And I guess they have some problems with demons and possessions.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah. I mean, the Catholic Church, that's what they're in the business of doing, understanding that. So they have David, and there's a third guy. I forget the other guy's name, but he's Muslim. And so it's like the three of them all kind of approach this from different ways. David is the priestly guy. Bouchard is the psychologist, and the other guy's the skeptic. Essentially, he's the materialist. He sees if there's lead in the water. He sees what kind of metal they've been sucking on and stuff like that, right? To be able to explain
sucks on metal.
All the people who are infected with these demons. So and there's a whole backstory with the Vatican and conspiracy around them hiding the fact that they know that there are these 60 demons out there, and you get kind of wrapped up. It's supernatural, right?
Right.
So they do go into the supernatural, but they do it in kind of a silly way through dreams.
Right.
So you can't tell sometimes if they're dreaming or if they're not dreaming. It's that kind of tug, that push and that pull of, well, were they dreaming about it? Did that really happen to them? Are they seeing things? Are they possessed? All of that gets wrapped up into the cases that they see with all these demons. And they do I'm actually pretty impressed how they bring it into people who do mass shootings. For example, they had an episode on a shooter and how this one guy who's also a psychologist, you can't tell if he's like a demon or if he's a psychologist, or if he's just toying with them.
I actually think most psychologists are demons, but that's a whole.
It's very
story.
possible. Yeah. So it's very good. It's very complicated. It's very cerebral. The supernatural stuff isn't that scary, I don't think.
Right.
Because they make it kind of kitschy.
Well, I think originally it was on CBS, so they couldn't really push the envelope as far as the censors were concerned.
Yes, because they did use the F word once, which I was surprised.
Huh.
And
I bet you it was bleeped out on the original.
Yeah,
show.
Maybe. And then when they put it on Netflix, which is where I'm watching it.
No, Paramount Plus is what you said.
No, it's all so Paramount. So here's the thing: Paramount Plus picked up the fifth season
because that is CBS. Okay, gotcha.
CBS had it for the first 4 seasons, and they said we're done with it. So but everybody's like, no, you can't be done with it. There's this. You have to resolve this.
Gotcha.
So they said, okay, yeah, enough people are watching it. So 5th season will be the last one, but it'll be on Paramount Plus. Okay. But that's not out yet.
All right. Well,
I like it.
Okay.
I mean, if you like the supernatural,
which I do,
you're into the cerebral stuff. It's not too religious. But there is some religious overtones.
Well, there has to be when you're talking about demons.
But they bring in, she used to be a climber, and they bring in some Buddha stuff. Yeah. So it's just pretty interesting.
They bring in Buddha?
Well, her husband was over in Tibet. So he brings some of it back with him. And then you're like, oh, well, is that the same as the demons in Catholicism? And they don't ever resolve it, really.
My question is it Tibet or Tibet?
Tibet.
There you go. That's the Yinzer and you come. But we didn't do a Stump the Yinzer. I should have done a Stump the Yinzer.
You should have said, how do you say Tibet?
You'd have been Tibet. Donner and Tibet.
Well, yeah, like Detroit. Yeah.
Detroit. Latrobe. All right.
You're catching on. Catching on. You'll be one someday.
And believe me. What I could say. All right. I am continuing to watch something since and I have to give an excuse here because my job and everything, I can't watch as much. So when I get on a show, I have to watch it till the end. And today I just finished season 3 of Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, Fear the Walking Dead
on Netflix, because I finished the whole Walking Dead, 11 seasons. This one has 8. Let me tell you something about Fear the Walking Dead. This is my opinion. I don't know if anybody's going to agree with me or not.
I stopped somewhere around season 5, I think.
I can tell you right now, seasons 1 through 3.
Yeah.
Better than all of The Walking Dead.
Very good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the yacht one, right? They're on the yacht.
Yes.
And then they make
season 1.
Yeah. And then they make it someplace.
Takes them to the yacht, tries to get them to Mexico. Shit hits the fan. They find a ranch. Shit hits the fan. They find a dam. Shit hits the fan. And then next thing you know, the beginning of season 4, there's a cowboy and Morgan from Walking Dead.
Cowboy. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
Morgan,
that episode
right?
was a season 4.
Yeah,
so as far as my review is concerned,
it starts to go downhill from here, by the way. Sorry.
I did watch it through like season 5 or 6. Same thing happened. Won't go over it with everybody that happened to The Walking Dead. I just kind of lost interest. I didn't think it was bad, but yeah, it does start to get, again, Walking Dead-ish. But I'll tell you what, seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Fear the Walking Dead, some of the best
really
television I've seen.
Yeah, with the kids and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done,
with his
too.
addiction and how it plays into the whole. It's like he is perfectly suited for the apocalypse.
Yeah,
which is true of a lot of addicts because they live in the go down to Kensington in Philly.
Yeah,
that's The Walking Dead. It really is. Unfortunately,
in some ways, that's
unfortunately,
true. Yeah.
Very true. Go to the streets of San Francisco. That's The Walking Dead. Haight-Ashbury.
Hey, these are cities my children live in.
I know. Well, that's your fault, not mine. So season 3 of The Walking Dead.
I bet I could go down to Pittsburgh and find some places.
I've been down there recently. There are some sections, and it's actually getting worse, unfortunately. But that's another show that we'll do another time. So yes, Fear the Walking Dead. Listen,
Season
guys,
3.
Pick it up. It is fantastic. If you like The Walking Dead and you didn't watch Fear, you're totally missing out. You are totally missing out, which is what the Grand Schwabini is doing right now.
I think we're missing.
I don't see it that way at all. I really don't.
We miss you, Mark. Come back, please.
No, please stay away a little longer. You got a little bit more to go on that stick you're smoking there.
He does a lot of way to go.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of tugging to do.
Do you think he finished that? I don't think he finished that.
No, he never finishes a cigar.
He sends that bragging like, I only smoke in Jamaica. He probably put it out right after that threw up. All right, you've been watching the Sports Black and Gold edition all over the world, live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and the Gram. And I'm going to drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcast. And you can always listen to us on Radio PGH on the stream I put in the comments right now before we leave. I am your technical director for HJ. I am out.
Here we go.
Jablons.